currently 12:30 and finished all my meetings, ready for tomorrow, and I've got so many thoughts racing in my mind and I thought I'd share them. So you and I are going to go take a night drive and we're going to have a conversation. Could probably go get a drink, make our way there. Obviously growing with the circumstances of having so many cultures integrated in me and adapting to so many different types of new environments, because I've never really grown up in a fixed location, if you get what I mean. I've always been moving around. You know, I have Canada in me, I've got Korea, I've got a part of Africa in me as well, for the people that don't know me. I basically have a lot of integrated cultures and a lot of things that I've learned from that. But that will be a video for another day. And what I wanted to tell you today is about my journey to success and things that I've learned and advice I wish I could give my younger self. Love the S58. But getting back to topic, time is a variable that never stops, right? In today's century, the 21st century, 2025, we've got so many developing things. We've got AI, we've got technology, and there's so many opportunities that will never occur again in a long time. It's like going through the whole entire phase of when computers were first developed and brought into the market, or the internet, for example, the web 2.0, and now the web 3.0, the decentralized websites and with the web. And something that you have to really know, you consciously have to know that it's an opportunity. And if you're young and you've got this hustler mentality of you want to learn something, I believe that's the beauty of what you can grasp today. Because obviously 20 years back, when website was fully starting to get developed, a few people took advantage of it. And if you look at today's society, they are the ones that are really successful. Really, really successful. And I find it interesting because right now is the time of AI, and if you can manage to master using and taking advantage of the system that is available to you today, that will be the biggest success you will have in life, or the foundation to your success in life. Talking about the social media presence that we've got today, or the changing times, we have so much bullshit of media today. I mean, if you just open TikTok and start scrolling for just a few minutes, you will see so many teenagers, so many young entrepreneurs trying to fake the aspect of getting successful at a young age. And to be honest, 99% of them are not successful. They have no idea of what they're doing. They have no skill that they've learned, yet they really want to join this trend of looking rich and pretending to be this successful entrepreneur. I mean, they'll do the craziest of things. They'll max their credit cards, buy designer things with that. They'll literally get into debt to pretend rich, or to look rich in our society and fit in somehow. And I believe this somehow builds the structure of you're behind in your late 20s, in your early 30s, or perhaps in your late 10s, or in your teenagers. And it's developing this really toxic society online where it builds a mentality of if you're not successful with a certain age, you're a failure. And the complete truth to that is there is no such thing as a perfect timing. Some people have it later, some people peak early, Some people peak late, some people peak in their 20s, some people even peak in their 50s. And that's just something I believe you can't really control. And if you look at today's media, that's exactly what you're being presented with. And it's that you are behind. I mean, you see people at our age, well, successful teenagers and young adults being really successful. And they do exist. They do exist. And it just builds the ideology of that you're behind in this world. And it's really toxic because that can ruin your whole entire perception of your success. I mean, you'll see young people driving luxury cars, wearing nice watches, traveling on a very often basis, and you'll just think to yourself, am I behind? And that's the thing. You can't compare your time of success to others. I mean, you're probably lost. And guess what? I'm also lost. That's okay, because I'm still figuring it out myself. I don't have everything laid out. I don't have life in my hands. I'm still learning along the way, and there's so much to learn and so many things to learn out there. And talking about social media and representing its false things, what you feed your mind is very important and forges or sculptures who you become in the future. If you constantly force or constantly doom scroll, for example, you're on your phone all day, you're scrolling, watching, comparing, but little do you know that little by little it changes you. The things that you watch changes you and has a huge impact in your future. You start wanting things because you start comparing, and you all get it for the wrong reasons. You develop wrong reasons of wanting something, and unfortunately it makes you feel like you're not enough. And if there's one thing that I do and tell my younger self, I unfollow more than half of the people that I used to follow. The people that used to make me feel insecure and make me feel like I'm not enough, those are toxic people you don't need in your circle. Hallo, habt ihr Eistee?
Yeah.
And so yeah, one thing you can do now is start unfollowing the people that don't make you feel like you're enough. Have you guys noticed that boosters obviously fall off rockets when they get to a certain altitude? That's something that is completely relatable in the society today. Not everyone you're with right now are going to be sticking with you by the end of your success. And it's simple, because success requires so many things, so many changes and constant movement. And the sad part is that majority of the people are not willing to stay in a place that's uncomfortable for them. People that aren't constant to change or aren't willing to stay in an environment full of uncomfortableness. Some will just fall off, some will envy you. Some people just weren't meant to be in your future. And trust me, it will hurt to let go of the people that you know and you love. But those are the things or the sacrifices that you have to be willing to go through to become a different future. And I mentioned being in a comfort zone. That is the last thing you'd ever want to be in, because pain is the only thing that shapes you. You know, if you look at it back in the past, when I used to be broke, lost and so tired every day of having no motion and no direction, pain is the only thing that shaped me to who I am today. The discipline that it's built and the emotion it's gotten me this far. And it's incredible, because you think that it's bad, but trust me, there's a good pain and a bad pain. So if you're going through struggle, don't think of it as a complete negative thing. Just think of it as being life is pushing you and developing you into a better person. And you'll get through it by persevering. And talking about the things that we just slightly touched about people showing off whatever they want to because they want to fake this lavish lifestyle that they have. Dude, you're young. You're young, you've got time to figure it out. You've got no one to show off to. You don't have to prove anything right now. That isn't your goal. You don't need a fancy car. You don't need a fancy watch. You don't need a valuable story to tell people. to make you feel valuable. Just be someone who's trying, because that's rarer than anything else in today's society right now. Trying consistently, quietly, although nobody is looking at you, that is the most important thing. Just you and yourself and the motion that you've got, because a good saying is slow motion is better than no motion. I always used to think that money is something that's supposed to be studied and learned for the people who always have had money. So essentially, I'd always think that studying money are for people who are rich, who are already successful, who have generational wealth from their parents or their grandparents or their family. But that's something that's completely changed my perspective of wealth in general. You can learn money even if you're not rich or you don't have the money right now. You know, it's like I used to always think, what's the point of managing or learning how to manage money when I don't have money? What's the whole point of learning how to invest if I have nothing to invest? And the whole switch that flipped the whole entire idea of the mentality of that is that you can invest with $5. You know, I can start now with even $10. And learning how money works, learning how banks work, how banks are also a business, how investments grow. And by learning that, you're not greedy. It's because you want the options. And if you respect money early, you'll get around it more easily in the future. You know, you don't have to get rich to act like someone who's already rich. It's about perspective. It's about having the vision of that you're already rich now and you've got to think like a millionaire. You know, how would a millionaire think right now? You know, act like it now and you'll see how much different your future looks. I've had lots of DMs in my social media accounts saying, I've had this type of business idea, what do you think? What's your opinion on it? And something that I can tell you guys, as a young person who's founded a business before at a young age, there is no perfect timing and you will never have the finished, final, perfect blueprint of a successful business. So simply said, if you're waiting for the perfect moment to start that business, you'll be waiting forever, because that perfect moment will never come. And trust me, I know what it feels like. You'll keep telling yourself and convincing yourself, when I'm a bit more confident, when I've got a bit more capital, when I've got a bit more research done, it just becomes to the point where you also kind of realize you're just scared. But confidence doesn't come from doing it first. It comes from doing it being scared. You know, the first time is always supposed to suck, no matter what it is. It can be in all aspects of life. The first time always sucks. But that's the risk that you've got to take to become better and grow as a better person for the future. You know, if you want to become an entrepreneur, influencer, just post it. Everybody has their first post and everybody starts from somewhere. Because progress only shows up to people who do and don't wait. And coming back to the point where I mentioned that some people will fall off in life, to be honest, majority of them will. And eventually you'll be alone. You will be alone. There's going to be a season in your life where you're alone or you're by yourself. Not by choice, but because the group chats go silent, the calls stop coming, and the people you used to see every day just drift away. Eventually you'll walk into rooms, feel invisible. You'll scroll through your feed and wonder why everybody seems so connected apart from you. You'll hear, bro, we should link up soon, and realize they never really mean it. And maybe you'll sometimes even wonder, have you ever done something wrong, or did you do something wrong? You'll start to think if maybe you're just hard to love, or maybe you're the problem. But hear me out. Being alone is not a weakness. It's a mirror. And most people don't want to face the mirror because they don't want to see what's real. But you're in it and it's teaching you. You're learning who you are without an audience. You're learning what you love without a group and telling you what's cool. You have no input. You're being yourself. You're discovering your own rhythm and learning that you can think on your own, you can make judgments and make your own opinions without anybody having the influence of your thoughts. And trust me, the truth is, loneliness isn't a curse. It's a space. It's your space for growth. It's your space for healing. It's your space to clear your head and using your own thoughts without anyone or everyone else's noise in the background. And yeah, it will hurt. It will hurt you like a bitch. Some nights will be heavy. Some nights you will have tears and you'll cry yourself. That's what it comes with. You'll stare at the ceiling for minutes and you'll stand in front of a wall. Sometimes you'll wonder, who even are you? You wish you had someone to call. Because of course, humans are social beings. You can't avoid that. But trust me, winners are built in the quiet seasons. The version of you in the future will need this. Because that future version of you needs this silence. Because even when the noise comes back, and it will, you will still be your own version. So don't rush through this season. Don't find fake friends. Don't push it because you desperately need someone. Use it to journal. Use it to learn. Use it to train your own body. Just adapt to this season that you're going through. It's to the point where you've got to master your own energy to the point that it doesn't matter who goes into the future. All you have to do is just adjust to that. You will not break, you will not care, and it won't be like the past. So if there's one thing I'd want you to take away from this video, it's that you don't need to know it all. You really don't need to know it all. Just make sure you don't quit. You don't need to know the perfect plan. You don't need to know that 5 full year blueprint that you've been working on. And you don't need the cheat code. And we live in a world that moves so freaking quick because of social media. People posting their wins, their lifestyles, their whole entire filtered lives on social media and posting their numbers like it's a whole entire scoreboard. And if you're not careful, you'll start to think that uncertainty is failure. But it doesn't, because not knowing is part of the whole entire process. It's part of the journey. Uncertainty means that you're still in motion. You're still searching and you're still alive in the game. I used to always think that people who have made it always knew something that I didn't. Like they had some secret connection, they had secret in their head, or even just a lucky break. But once you understand that they've never quit, you'll start to understand their success. When it got boring, they still stayed. They still stayed in the game. When they got tired, they still pushed through. When everything got quiet, they kept building and they kept persevering in such a terrible experience that will forge them into the future. It wasn't talent, it wasn't the luck that they were born in, it wasn't the perfect timing that they had. It was just their trust in themselves and trusting themselves and saying, I will have it in the future and everything will be okay. So if you're still watching this, if you're listening, please hear me when I say you are allowed to be confused, you're allowed to be scared, you're even allowed to feel lost, but just don't quit. Not on your ideas, not on your growth, and not on the person that you're slowly becoming. Because one day, this version of you right now that's watching this video, the version of you that's questioning everything about yourself, the one who's doubting himself, the one who's questioning himself, waking up every day with grit and silence, he'll look back, trust me. Your future self will look back and say, damn, you kept going. And he will be so proud of you that you kept going. And I'm still building too. And you know everything that I know. But if I know one thing for sure, we are both going to make it. It's 1:30 and I probably should head back and call it a night. But one thing I want to tell you is that I'm rooting for you. You probably don't know me. I probably don't know you. But honestly, I wish you the best for your future, the best of your success. I wish you prosperity. And most importantly, keep healthy. That's the most important thing. And be so grateful of what you have.